In this news update, we're talking with hygienic design consultant Alan Friis. He works for Force Technology in Denmark, and he's going to answer some questions about system integration because he is also a member of the EHEDG working group System Integration that is currently working on a new guideline update. Alan, nice to have you. Can you maybe first tell us something about your background?
I'm trained as a mechanical engineer, but I've been working my whole career with food processing. The beginning, it was heat transfer equipment, but then it very quickly evolved into designing food processes in a more holistic approach. My expertise is on the interface between the product and the process, so where food meets stainless steel is really what I know a lot about. So I do now quite a bit of hygienic design. Actually, mostly it's hygienic design, both with equipment manufacturers and food manufacturers as consultancy, but really a lot with the EHEDG test center that we run in Denmark, and that which is currently placed at Force Technology. Where we are just in the process of setting that up. We're getting our accreditation after Easter.
Alan, how can hygienic design create new business opportunities for food equipment producers as well as for the end users of that equipment?
It's often like sort of when you make a new project to buy a new line or just refurbish part of a line, that economy is always on top. And when you are trying to combine, say, the investment and the running of a line later on, those two are sort of separate, often in the budgeting in a food company or any biological production, I would say, and I mean, the struggle to combine these two phases so that you know that when you invest in hygienic design in the project phase, that will pay off later on.
Would you be able to say anything about the return on investment on hygienic design?
It is difficult to quantify that.
Mm-hmm.
We have been working quite a bit trying to make tools that would be the total cost of ownership, because the total cost of ownership that will give the people with the spreadsheets something to look at, some hard evidence. But making total cost of ownership calculations is not easy, and it's especially not easy to sort of say what would have been the worst case if you didn't do hygienic design. It's the same that people can say with food safety. We cannot say how many people would die if we did not have HACCP and proper food safety. And in the same way, say that when you invest in hygienic design later on, you cannot quantify what problems would you have run into if you didn't do it.
Well, yes, but eventually it's the end user, the food processing company, that has to make the ultimate decision, what equipment to use, how to implement it, and so on. So what would you advise them, since there's so much to choose from?
I think that when you go to the mechanical engineers and you start to say hygienic design, it's all the way up here. And you need to comply to all these different things, and we want to teach you the best principles. And then they come and they go home and they discuss with their colleagues and they find out that the possible is down here, but we haven't taught them that. Mm-hmm. So we need to have different levels of hygienic design. I mean, on the top level, it's aseptic, and there would be several levels towards sort of a bottom, still good hygienic design level. Which can be applied in a lot of processes where the risk is not so big. So I think that we should be better doing that. It's part of what we are discussing when we have meetings in the integration subgroup. where we are coming up now soon with the new guideline.
Mm-hmm.
And we are discussing that, and we could also see it in the review comments that came in from the peer review group in EHEDG, that is something that concerns people.
Okay, just a simple multiple choice question. Do you think it's better to optimize food safety by focusing on the weakest link in the food processing chain, or is it better to approach it with a holistic view?
It is a bit of both. It's a bit of both. But I think that if you don't have the holistic approach, you're missing the interfaces to the existing plant. And if you build up from the bottom, of course, you will do good hygienic design, but you always need to have, say, an iterative process. So it's actually with hygienic design as it is with all the other design aspects that are part of making a food plant, that you need to set your specifications, you need to find possible solutions, and then you need to validate if your specs are sort of met. And that goes with quality, that goes with food safety. So it's an iterative process. But I think that if you are forgetting the hygienic design as part of your design process, then it can be a little bit difficult, because it's not like you say, now we found the best machine, now we want to make it hygienic, or the installation hygienic. That can be a hard job.
Now, in the course of a year, there's only so many greenfield projects where the client could build up a hygienically designed system from the bottom up. But what about the other projects, the brownfield projects that make up the major part of your work?
If you are sort of doing something in an existing plant, you have interfaces, and it's the interfaces, I would say, that are the most critical, because you can design a machine, and that is also what we say in EHEDG. I mean, we have the EHEDG certified components. We have components that are made according to guideline but not certified, but still good components. And all these components are in itself a hygienic and good component, but we can integrate them in a way that we create hazards. So it's all about, and that I would say is mostly sort of the proper where thoughts can happen. That is in the integration of the interfaces. So I would say, if you are in an existing plant, understand the interface and the requirements of the surrounding process up and downstream. That is important to have that in mind when you choose the new refurbished part of a process.
Now, with your EHEDG accredited testing laboratory, you will obviously help a lot of food equipment producers in Denmark to certify their equipment, and thus helping the Danish food processing companies to make good decisions. But what about all the other stakeholders that are involved in integrating such a system?
If you consult, and you will see the many food manufacturers, also many equipment manufacturers, at least in Denmark. I think it would be the same over most of Europe. When you look, that there's a lot of local companies involved, not necessarily in making the design, but making the build. There would be a lot of local companies. So I think that both on the equipment side and the food side, what I see that people often need to be reminded about is sort of getting the sort of the right communication between the parties. So you speak and you ask, and you are not just relying on the counterpart knowing what they are supposed to do.
Well, thank you very much, Alan. There's much more to say, but these videos are limited to 10 minutes, so we'll have to stop here. And if you have any questions, dear viewer, for this expert, just leave them in the comment section below. Thank you, Alan. See you next time. Bye-bye.